This episode is also brought to you by Oddmo's Pizza in Canby. Handmade awesome pizza plus craft beer, wine, and cider delivered. Order today at 503-263-8444 or visit them online at oddmos.com.
Welcome to Now Hear This Canby,
Your source for news.
The threat of a possible teacher strike was avoided this week.
There's a new, irresistibly cute creature winning over fans, and its name is Scootaloo.
Sports.
It's like Lucy in the football. You want to kick a field goal, if they take it away from you.
We had to learn how to win.
Goal can't be in the last second of the game!
And interesting conversations.
Because I'm one of the strongest girls ever, and I know that for a fact.
I just really enjoy writing gossip as if I was a bear.
With an old maid daughter that make the best moonshine in the coast.
And if it would have hit me in the face, I think I would have died. I really do.
I guarantee you would have died, man. Are you kidding me?
Welcome to Now Hear This Canby podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Tyler Clausen, and this is what's happening this week in our community. The Oregon Department of Transportation's long-awaited repaving and reconstruction of the busy 1.5-mile stretch of Highway 99E through the heart of Canby is expected to kick off this week and continue through the fall of 2023. ODOT says the estimated $20.2 million facelift will include new features and improvements to make driving, biking, walking, taking transit, or using mobility devices safer and easier along Highway 99E in Canby. The project will fully repave the entire section of Highway 99E from Berg Parkway to Pine Street, including excavation and replacement of several inches of roadbed and pavement for a safer, smoother ride. ODOT will also improve traffic signals with new detectors and crosswalks at South Elm Street, South Grant Street, and South Ivy Street, reconstruct several short sections of sidewalk along the corridor, and update stripping along the highway for consistent lane width to encourage slower, safer speeds. New bicycle lanes will be added to both sides of the highway between Southwest Berg Parkway and South Elm Street, and sidewalk curb ramps will be installed at the intersections to meet Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA) standards and improve access. Finally, the state says it will also partner with Canby Area Transit on improvements to increase safety and access for transit users as bus shelters are added in the area. The project will start with the installation of new ADA accessible sidewalk curb ramps at 10 intersections and the reconstruction of several segments of sidewalk. This phase, which is expected to continue through the spring, will include periodic single-lane closures on Highway 99E between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. on weekends, as well as side streets between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Shoulder closures on 99E will include signed and accessible detours for pedestrians. During the drier months of 2023, ODOT crews will be tackling the grinding, excavation, and rebuilding of the right lanes of Highway 99E down the road base, which officials say will yield higher quality and longer lasting pavement. This phase will include nighttime lane closures with flaggers directing traffic on 99E, along with periodic day and nighttime lane closures on side streets. Sections of the right lanes will be closed in each direction for up to a month at a time. Motorists are advised to use caution and watch for people biking in the remaining lanes. A full weekend closure of Highway 99E will occur in both directions to remove the unused railroad tracks that cross the railroad diagonally near South Pine Street and realign the tracks still in use at the highway crossing. ODOT says it will announce these closure dates and detour information in advance. Canby City Councilor Sarah Spoon will resign midway through her second term in office, she announced Wednesday night. She made the surprise announcement during this week's regular city council meeting, saying that she has been incredibly honored to have been elected twice to represent the community, but that recent career advancements have made it difficult to juggle her various roles. It pains me to say that over the last 8 months, my life has changed in significant ways, she said. I have made career advancements and crowdfunded and released a full-length album and now have exciting opportunities to tour and travel to perform our music. No matter how many times I try to squeeze more minutes into the day, there is never enough time to wear that many hats. The community deserves a public servant who can make it a bigger priority than I can at this point. Spoon, who identifies as queer, says her election in 2016 as the city's first openly LGBTQ council person, 23 years after the campaign over Oregon's failed ballot Measure 9, turned small towns like Canby into battlegrounds across the state, was a sign that there is hope even in the shadow of darkness. Her time on the council was the most humbling privilege, she says. Serving this community, meeting with and listening to citizens and neighbors while all dreaming about a better Canby together will always be a highlight of my life, and I will never take this seat for granted, she said. I have given every spare minute, and my family will tell you many minutes that were not spare, to work on behalf of my voters as well as the people who did not vote for me. I have always fought for this town. Spoon was a polarizing figure during her time on the council. She was the first or second leading vote getter in the elections of 2016 and 2020, and her announcement this week was met with dismay and gratitude from supporters on social media. But her progressive views chafed more conservative members of the council and the community. An unsuccessful recall effort targeting her and another council member last year cited her comedy music videos and an explicit social media post that criticized former President Donald Trump, which outraged some conservatives. Spoon's announcement also follows an election in which her longtime ally, Greg Parker, and Art Marine, a counselor whom she referred and voted to appoint last April, lost their re-election bids to more conservative challengers. Applications to replace Spoon are now being accepted with interviews planned for December 21st and the new counselor to be sworn in the following night. Spoon's replacement would be appointed to serve the remainder of her term through December 2024. One person and their pets were killed in a fire at a mobile home complex in Clackamas Tuesday afternoon, official reports say. Clackamas Fire District personnel responded to the fire off Highway 212 shortly after 2 p.m., according to Facebook posts. Firefighters arrived to find heavy fire but managed to extinguish it in about 20 minutes, Clack Fire officials said in the November 16th post. A resident was initially taken to the hospital on Tuesday, but Clackamas Fire District announced Wednesday that they had died along with 4 cats. Authorities at the scene said the fire started on the outside of the home and moved inside. The victim has not yet been identified, and the cause of the blaze is still under investigation. Canby High School was briefly locked down during an assembly Friday morning after administrators and law enforcement became aware of a threatening social media post. No one was injured in the incident, and the police are continuing their investigation into the post and its author. Canby Police Chief George Stroh said the post was extremely vague but appeared to allude to a possible shooter on school grounds. It was very generic, no names, nothing specific, he said. The school did a great job of doing a lockdown as a precaution. Canby High School students first saw the post and brought it to the attention of administrators and school resource officer Maria DeLuna at approximately 11 a.m. Friday, when most of the student body was attending an assembly. During our assembly, we became aware of a social media post indicating a possible threat outside of the building, Principal Carrie Sloan said in a message to students and families. In an abundance of caution, we immediately responded by alerting law enforcement, securing the perimeter, and keeping students safe in the building. After a thorough investigation, police deemed the threat not credible and remained vigilant on site. Our safety response was lifted and students returned to class. Tro said Canby officers, with the assistance of Molalla Police and Clackamas County Sheriff's deputies, did a thorough search of the school and grounds. We made sure everything was safe and secure, then stayed on campus until students returned to their classes, he said. Tro said the investigation was ongoing and praised school staff and the students who first brought the post to the attention of Canby High School leadership and law enforcement. They did exactly what we would want them to do, he said. Everybody did a great job. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to please call the Canby Police Department at 503-655-8211. Canby Fire and other regional agencies responded to Molalla to assist in a large shop fire on the outskirts of town Friday night. Molalla Fire District reported that the fire broke out at around 9:20 p.m. in the 32400 block of South Mathis Road, across the street from the commercial nursery operation. Mutual aid crews responded from Canby, Clackamas, Colton, and Woodburn Fire. Neighboring residents reported on social media hearing explosions while the fire raged, which were attributed to propane or gas canisters. No injuries were reported, but the shop was a total loss. Firefighters were on the scene for almost 5 hours. Officials did not say if the cause of the blaze had been determined. Hey, Frankie, what's up, dude?
Intruder! Alexis, call 411!
Who's Alexis?
Oh, it's just you, Tyler. Sorry about that. You know, the days are getting shorter and darker, and before you know it, 6 p.m. is gonna feel like midnight, and with the holidays coming, Christmas deliveries on the way and all, I've been getting more security conscious, and I guess it's just making me a little paranoid.
Yeah, so that's what all this is. Looks like quite the setup.
Oh yeah. We decided to really invest in a top-of-the-line Wi-Fi connected video security system. Just one little problem.
What's that?
Well, just look at this. We tested it out during Halloween, and look how grainy and pixelated the video is. Everybody looks like Minecraft characters, and only a couple were actually wearing Minecraft costumes. This is supposed to be 4K high-def video. I know, you're gonna say it's my internet service provider like you always do, but I made sure to place my Wi-Fi router in a central location, and I think my download speeds are decent.
Oh, Frankie, how many times have we got to go over this? You always focus on the download speeds, but it's the upload speeds that really matter here. When you've got cameras that are uploading data to your smartphone app through the internet.
Oh. I guess I should just hope I get robbed by someone wearing a Minecraft mask.
Sure. Or you could just switch to Direct Link, where they have internet upload speeds up to 10 times faster than other local providers.
Oh.
For uploads at the speed of security, visit www.directlink.coop/internet or give them a call, 503-266-8111.
All right, joining us on the Canby Conversation today, we're so delighted to be welcoming back Matt Morrissey, restaurateur extraordinaire of Wayward Sandwiches and Siren Song. We're on site here at Siren Song in downtown Canby, the new-ish whiskey bar, cocktail bar, and fancy food eatery. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Good. I would just keep going with the intro.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You know,
just celebrated a year.
We just celebrated a year. 3 years over at Wayward, 1 year here.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's taken many more years off of my life. But no.
Just as you were saying that, 3 years and 1 year.
Yeah, I know.
You're reliving every second.
It's like dog years. I'm actually shaved 21 years off of my life.
Oh man, I feel like you aged in the time you said that.
I'm gonna die any day now.
Well, you have been, and your team, and you've assembled such a great team, been doing such a great job at both locations. Love what you're doing. Before we get started, we're sampling a whiskey here.
Yeah.
You're a big whiskey guy. Tell us a little bit about what we've got going on here.
So Westward has sort of quickly become, I would say, probably like the sort of flagship whiskey for Oregon.
You first heard about them because you thought there might be a trademark issue. You were looking at that. Hey, we're Wayward. You guys are Westward. Yes. But then the lawyers were like, no, there's nothing there. Just give it up. So, but
I went outside their.
Like, hey, that's pretty good.
I went outside their headquarters
with signs
and no, I was just yelling at the. I was like, come out and put up your dukes.
Oh man, challenging them.
Yeah, no, they make single malt. So single malt, you tend to think of Scotch, and so that the style is there's very barley is the main ingredient or the only ingredient.
Very Scottish.
Yeah, but they're unlike many Scotch. The process and what they're doing is very tailored to Oregon.
Yeah.
They try and use Oregon barley where they as much as they can. I don't know that they grow enough out here to get 100% sourced there, but they do a great job. And they recently, or not super recently, but in the grand scheme of things, recently they released a sort of an entry level. A more affordable. It's a blended, malt whiskey called Beacon Rock, and so it's a little more affordable. Their flagship stuff tends to be pretty pricey.
Yeah.
So it's a little more affordable, and it's delicious. It's really clean, easy drinking. It's got kind of almost has like a banana. You smell it. It kind of smells like tropical bananas.
It's super smooth. It does have a lot more sweetness.
It is.
Not like overpowering, but not what you necessarily expect.
Yeah, it's not. It's got so bourbons have that very caramelly, vanilla-y sweetness to them. This is more of a lighter, cleaner. They have banana, but it's not like. You're not like, oh my God, it's super sweet. I'm licking on a candy cane. It's just got but it's got a little hint of it. I think that's part of, the mass appeal when but it's great. We love it. It mixes wonderfully with a lot of different whiskey cocktails.
Yeah.
So we use it, for that more than anything else. Anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously this isn't a whiskey podcast, but the one thing, right, with the distilling of a Scotch, and traditionally in Scotland and Ireland, like we've been talking, but especially Scotland, I feel like it's really a lot to do with the air, the salt in the air, right? Because it's very coastal there, and that's where a lot of this
and the water. So the water you use.
It's interesting to do this out here on our coast, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the water we have here is actually incredibly the Bull Run water that feeds most of Portland. Is some of the best natural drinking water that needs very little, if any, filtration or management.
Nice.
It's incredible water. So you get a lot of these. We have very similar water in a lot of ways to Japan, and which is famous for its sort of water. And so there's actually a Fury is a ramen shop downtown, and it's very famously they're from Tokyo, I believe Tokyo. I could have that wrong. But anyway, they're a famous ramen shop there, and so they decided to open overseas, and they picked Portland because the water is essentially the same. So whatever that's worth. So with Scotch, you get like further down in towards the ocean and the islands and the lowlands and the islands, they tend to have more of the peat bogs. So what they do is they essentially smoke the barley with the peat, and like it's almost like a little kiln that's only for barley, and that's what gives it that really strong peaty flavor. Yeah. The higher you get up in the highlands, you're further away from the peat bogs, the less they use peat, if any peat, although the distillation process, aside from the smoking of the barley, is essentially the same. So what we do here, this is obviously, Oregon is not known for its peat bogs, so most of the single malts that get made here have zero peat added. So so it's a very clean, lighter product. Less sort of bogged it down.
Nice.
Zing.
Well, with that, let's before you come up with any more jokes, let's move on. You got something real cool coming up. Something you guys have been doing for a while now.
Couple years.
These wine dinners, which are over at Wayward or sometimes other places, but traditionally Wayward kind of shut down the restaurant for the night, or at least cordon off a section of it.
Exactly.
And host these. I don't know if you would use the word, but just these like really fancy dinners with specialty menus that are very curated and paired with certain wines. Where did the idea originally come from to do this?
Well, so wine dinners are not any sort of original concept.
But for like a sandwich shop.
Well, right.
And I know you guys aren't like...
Right. No, 100%. So originally it came from a desire to, I have a background in all sorts of different kinds of food, but fine dining as well, and so it's fun. Like some of the pomp and circumstance of fine dining can be fun from time to time. I'm not trying to run a white tablecloth French restaurant in Canby, but this gives us an opportunity every so often, every month or two, to do something like that. So we generally, the format we've been using, though we're not necessarily married to it, is 5-course meals. So it's 5 smaller courses. I mean, you certainly don't ever leave hungry. Good God, if you ever did. But we pair those thoughtfully with different wines. There's usually different themes for these dinners. Sometimes it's based on a region of the world that's famous for its wines. Sometimes it's based on a kind of food. Sometimes it's based on, for instance, the one we've got coming up, which is a very special one for us, is based on a single animal. So we, for the last 2 years, have purchased a steer at the Junior Livestock Auction. So at the Clackamas County Fair, at Fair Week, all through the week, they are judging the student animals, the 4-H and geez Louise, it's the other 4-H and
FFA.
These animals that these kids are raising, and at the end of it, they hand out the awards, and if the kids, most of the kids sell the animals, and so they're sometimes they get kept as pets or whatever, but by and large, they sell them. And the money, literally 98% of the money raised goes directly to these kids. There's very little overhead. Most of the companies donate services. So it's a really incredible way for these kids to raise money. Plus, the level of attention and care to these animals is through the roof. I mean, if you're a for-profit, ranching operation or beef operation or pork or whatever, it doesn't make much sense financially to have one person taking care of one animal, but that's the case with these. Is these animals are taken care of, literally one-on-one or pretty close to it, and so they're fantastic. think what I'm trying to say is that makes them extra delicious.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, and we've talked about it before, but it's one of those things that people kind of forget. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on how great the junior livestock auction and the whole process is for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, it teaches them about where food comes from. Obviously,
Right.
teaches society that
responsibility.
Responsibility. You know, they get money, which, you know, however much it is, it's a ton of money for a kid.
Yeah, no,
You know?
right.
But yeah, no, you don't. It's the type of thing where, like, that type of, like, very bespoke, like, one-to-one operation would only work for this. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not a, yeah, exactly. So, you know, so we were introduced to it all, and we sort of fell in love with the whole thing. And so we, this is our second year doing it. Last year we bought Tomahawk, was the name of the steer we bought. This year we bought Chili, and Chili was about 1,440 pounds. And
you didn't buy them originally, or this one, or maybe for this one, but originally it wasn't like, oh, let's do it and do a wine dinner and whatnot. What was your motivation initially in?
I mean, the thought was that we just, number one, support the junior livestock auction. You know, so bring attention to and support the junior livestock auction. And then we went and, you know, we really loved the event. And then it's like, all right, well, we got, you know, I mean, after it gets back to us, 700 pounds of stuff. And it's like, all right, and this is amazing, incredible beef.
Yeah.
So we should probably
can do something special.
Do amazing, incredible things with it.
Yeah. You guys have always talked about, from the very beginning, you know, the importance of buying locally, supporting local farmers, food that's
100%.
grown, produced, raised right over yonder, you know, folks that you can shake their hand. And this is really an example of you kind of putting your, because it's more expensive to do it this way.
Oh, no, yeah.
Like putting your money where your mouth is there, right?
So not only did we purchase a steer, we bought the reserve market so like the number 2 steer rated, you know, it won its class or division or whatever, and then it got number 2 overall. So that comes at a premium. We paid a lot.
What is that market like? Who else is bidding on these animals when it comes to?
You got like some
of them are breeders. Steers obviously aren't breeding stock at that point.
No, not typically. I mean, I guess that's possible. No, it's not. It's we're. I don't think we're the only restaurant there.
Really?
I mean, unless people own, you know, like have kids in FFA or something.
Yeah.
No, it's mostly other businesses. So Les Schwab always has. So like all of the Les Schwabs in Clackamas County, they send their managers out and they have a budget and they buy animals. You know, local businesses, you see, you know, a lot of familiar faces, you know, Coastal Farm and Ranch, Wilco, all of those type of places buy animals, and then just local people that are into it. I'm sure, you know, there's a fair amount of like parents that maybe own a business and they've got kids that are, no, it's actually not, I mean, it is very much not cost effective. You know, you're not getting a deal on the beef,
right?
But you know, I mean, at the same time, it is tax deductible, so it's not like it's a nothing burger either. Right. But it's but that's one thing that we've sort of been trying to bring awareness to, is that, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's other like-minded people and trying to get them interested in it, because a lot of restaurant type folks I think would be interested in if they really knew what it was all about.
Hey, I'm AJ. I'm your local Oddmo's franchise owner.
I'm Mike, co-founder of Oddmo's.
And we're the hosts of The Odd Pod, a podcast about
life in the pizza industry. We're going to have on some franchisees. We're going to have some different vendors on. We're going to get a snapshot of what goes on behind the scenes in the pizza world.
Don't forget to tell them about the sports.
There's sports.
And the crazy wacky pizza that we have every Wednesday that we create. And we also have a special guest every week as well.
And I'm Gage, OddPod's senior sports analyst.
Gage, who gave you that title?
Me.
Oh boy. Find us on Spotify and Apple Music and the pod bean.
So I interrupted you. So we have chili. So we
chili
have a fancy
is
chili dinner now.
So yeah, fancy chili dinner. We're doing. So we are
sour cream. Get your cheddar cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your cornbread.
So we sort of have chosen some of the prime cuts from chili to use for the dinner. So 5-course meal. First and foremost, we are pairing the wine for this dinner. Oftentimes, we'll just choose wine off, from what we got or whatever for this. This particular dinner, we're pairing with, or we're working with rather, Purple Hands Winery, which is one of the premier wineries in the Willamette Valley. They're out of Dundee. Their wines are regularly featured in every major wine magazine. They're incredible operation, making world-class wine. So those of people that are into wine would immediately recognize the name. So it's a really kind of a coup for us to be able to work with them. It's the second time we've worked with them, so the wine's going to be fantastic. The dishes themselves, we're going to do a first course that's going to be a beef stew, but it's not your average beef stew. We're going to take some of the chuck and we're going to smoke that off, and then make this really rich beef stew with cognac, and there'll be all sorts, and then just a ton of fun veggies. We'll use cipollini onions, and I'm sure some turnips and taters and carrots and mushrooms. We'll put some nice mushrooms in there, and we're already actually the base will be a beef base, a fresh beef stock, really amazing, rich. We bring in the bones and roast them off, and then simmer it overnight.
Do you have to be a little creative with some of the? There's only if you're going to do like a huge steak, there's only so many that you can get from a cow. So you have to be a little more creative when you're trying to plan a dinner for what, 50, 60?
Well, probably about. We cap these out at about 40 people.
Okay.
Just because.
But even so, from one animal, obviously a steer is a large animal, but still.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Well, and the other part of it is that you're feeding 5 courses, so it's like you don't want to. I'm not going to give you a pound of beef
for the 4th course is another steak.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be thoughtful about it. So that's why
steak and ice cream for dessert.
A nice starter with a really beautiful, rich beef stew, and then the second course we're going to do a stuffed flank steak.
Yeah, I saw that. So what is?
So flank is like the part that's often used for like a London broil. So it's very close to the bone. It's very flavorful.
Yeah.
But when it's cooked right and cut right, which is very important, it's amazing. So what we'll do is basically you take a knife and you cut this like a little pocket into because the flank's very thin.
Yeah.
We're relatively thin, and sort of looks sort of fibrous, and so you can either do that or you can just kind of butterfly it open, and then sort of pound it out, and then just add sauces and literally like roll it up pinwheel, and then you sear it off and roast it to whatever. And so we're gonna do when you make a pesto, you generally use like olive oil.
Yeah.
So for this pesto, we're going to use the rendered fat from our pastrami. It'll be pastrami pesto.
Yeah.
And then some roasted red peppers, and we'll cook down some mustard greens and all garlic, and then that will be and then we'll take more of the pesto over the top, and that's gonna be served with polenta. So we're gonna make like these like slightly crispy on the outside, really moist and flavorful on the inside, polenta cakes, which is just kind of like amazing.
With every one of these dinners, there's always like one or two things that I see and are kind of like, okay, I'll take your pastrami pesto.
Yeah. No, we're excited.
Like, okay.
We're excited about the pastrami pesto.
Okay.
We're that's going to be.
I would try it.
No, it'll be good. I promise. And then the third dish we're going to do. So take brisket. So brisket is
brisket.
Famously the cut that most either corned beef or pastrami.
Yeah.
Is made from. So it's a very fatty cut of meat. So the trick to making a good brisket is cooking it either smoking or whatever you're going to do.
Keeping the juices in.
Yeah, low and cook it low and slow.
Yeah.
So you get it you get it really tender.
Yeah.
So we're gonna braise it, which is basically just submerging it in liquid and then cooking it slow. We're going to do that with a nice red wine.
Interesting.
And then that's going to come out and get served. So you have this like really, there's a lot of, the fat base it, and if you cook the fat right, it's not like gristly or, gross. It's just this sort of really melt in your mouth, delicious. But that richness and that sort of that fat content will be counteracted with the sauce, which is a gastrique is it's almost like a sweet and sour sauce. So you get sugar and vinegar cooked down with quince, and quince is like this amazing fruit that is super ugly.
Yeah.
They look like really misshapen, ugly pears.
Yeah.
But the flavor is kind of a cross between an apple and a pear, and it's got like that grittiness that a pear does. But when you cook it down, you shouldn't eat it raw typically. You can eat some, but like a lot of them will give you some pretty unpleasant if you eat it raw. You don't just grab it and take a bite. But anyhow, it has this really nice kind of pink rose color when it cooks down, even though the flesh is white. And that sort of sweet and sour with this pleasant quince flavor, and then we're going to do a pear chutney, which is essentially like a savory jam, and usually like garlic or onions or maybe a little red pepper is accompanies that, and you kind of cook it down, and so that we think that'll be a stunning dish.
Yeah, quite a bit of French influence.
Yeah, there's the French, for
they know a few things about food.
Yeah,
so I've heard. Yeah,
they've got it down.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish off with a probably like the most sort of traditional crowd pleasing a filet mignon. A poivre is just a preparation that means essentially
pepper, right?
It's a pepper crust and then like a brandy cream sauce.
Yeah.
Which is it hits all the receptors and
umami.
Yeah. So we'll prepare the filet medium rare, and then we'll do like a blue cheese mashed potato that we'll torch to give a nice little kind of light crust on it, and then a little grilled broccolini with a little olive oil and probably garlic and chili flake. And
when you're planning out these menus, I'm guessing like you maybe start with that, right? Like you don't start with like the first course.
We look through like what we've got, right?
Yeah.
And so you got, for steaks you end up with like a fair amount of like flank and skirt, and then there's tri-tip, and then there's this and that's that, and it's like we want to.
I think they're working on some quince back there right now.
Yeah. You don't. I don't know. You want a nice balance between sort of the different textures and cuts of the cow. Filet is obviously sort of the most traditionally tender. You undercook it.
Yeah.
Flank you can undercook, but like brisket's you would never want a rare brisket. Like it would be unpleasant. Like it's just a tough cut of meat. So like the difference between things that are cooked through and kind of alternating that, and and then the final dish, dessert, is going to be.
It's always a hard one with these, right? Like how do we involve?
Well, right.
How do we involve cow in?
Yeah, without making like
in the dessert. Yeah, without just people being like
sweetbreads or something.
Oh, I'm full, thank you.
No, so when you render beef fat down, like you would.
I'm loving it already.
Yeah. So fun fact. So it's called tallow. Is when you essentially make a
that's a Pokemon.
Yeah. Right. When you make a cooking oil out of beef fat, it's called tallow.
Okay.
So the original McDonald's fries for decades, until I think there was a lawsuit in the 80s or 90s that changed it. For decades and decades, it was McDonald's fries were cooked in tallow.
Litigious people.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a sort of a time-honored thing. It's not something necessarily weird, but we'll essentially, instead of using
I feel like you learned that on trivia
oil, different oil, vegetable oil or whatever in the flourless chocolate torte, we'll use tallow. So it's not going to be an overwhelming. You're not going to be like, this tastes like a steak. But you'll get a little bit of that savory mixed in with this like wonderful rich chocolate cake. And then we'll hit that with a little nice little homemade raspberry sauce, and that should go wonderfully with our final Pinot of the night.
It sounds great. I hope McDonald's isn't listening to this.
Yeah, I know.
They come after you, like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't
lawyers
know. I don't know why they would
airwaves
sue me for
talent.
talking about their history. I don't think they've tried to erase
well, I'm just
that.
saying whoever sued them would come after you for the tallow.
Well, that's certainly possible.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. My mouth is watering as we're going through this. So, I assume you still have. Some
We
haven't said the date yet. November.
Oh yeah,
29.
Jeez Louise. So it's the Tuesday, the 29th, the Tuesday after.
You have some time to digest.
So after Thanksgiving. So you got about 5 days after Thanksgiving.
Hit the
so
gym.
Hopefully, you will have
do your morning run for a few days. Yeah.
No, it should be a super fun night. We've got a good number of people already signed up, but definitely looking for more. And this is an animal that it just is not like you're not gonna have something like this every day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like this is a special animal, and we like to bring a focus on what it is, and it's something we believe very strongly in, and so fun event, amazing wine, amazing food, and we'd love to see some bodies. It's it's $120 per person for the 5 courses with the wine. And you can reach out, call Wayward at 503-266-3100, or you can email at info@waywardsandwiches.com, or if you're on social media, which you probably are if you're listening to this, you can reach out to either our Facebook or Instagram, which are both just at Wayward Sandwiches. So we'd love to see the community support it, and because we can keep doing it. But these type of events, if you're in Portland or in wine country, or $150 to $200 easy and up a ticket.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've done a few. They're really fun. It's always obviously it's with that price point. It's not something you're doing every night. But even once a month, every now and then, it's really nice to try something new, to really treat yourself. Take your special someone out for a really special night,
and the nice thing about it is, it's an experience, right?
Yeah.
It's not just you're not just going out for whatever dinner, and it's you're gonna have, there's gonna be a ton of information, but brought to you in a ideally digestible way, on more than one level, and it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Matt, again for being on the show. Thanks for all that you do
Thank you.
in our community. It's really great to talk to you as always.
You too.
Tyler, did you know that the Australian lyrebird can mimic any sound that it hears? even chainsaws?
No, that's super interesting.
Did you know that a baby puffin is called a puffling? Or that baby sea otters can't swim, so their moms wrap them up in pieces of kelp until they learn how to paddle.
Wait, do you know any trivia that isn't like animal related?
Not really, but here's some stuff you may not know about the Wild Hare Saloon, where Canby goes to eat and have fun.
Okay.
The Wild Hare is one of Canby's longest running locally owned restaurants. Owners Joan and Darren Moden have been in business for 16 years.
That's cool.
Yeah, heck, you were just a baby back then.
Wait, what?
And they love to give back. They've been members of the Canby Chamber for that long, and they donate over $20,000 to local sports, FFA programs, and civic organizations each year.
Wow, I'm legitimately caught off. That's cool.
Yeah, they also support more than 30 jobs in the community through their award-winning staff, some of them as young as 18. Hey, that's older than you are.
Dude, I'm 10 months younger than you.
With the days getting longer and the weather getting warmer, the Canby Wild Hare's expansive outdoor patio is the place to be. Furry friends welcome.
Well, that sounds great. I'm going to go check them out just off of Highway 99E next to the Space Age in Canby at 1656 Beaver Creek Road in Oregon City, or on their website at thewildharesaloon.net. Now Hear This Canby is produced by me, Tyler Clausen. Our content director and star reporter is Tyler Frankie. And of course, our show is edited by Cameron Clausen. We also feature the vocal talents of Joyce Struby and James Walden. So a round of applause to them. The song that you're hearing right now is Canby by singer-songwriter Olivia Harms, used with her permission. To find more work from her, you can visit her website olivia13.com.
Now Hear This Canby is dedicated to preserving independent local journalism and redefining local news with our fun, fresh, and energetic brand of storytelling. Our sincere thanks to our local sponsors who make this show possible. Please show your appreciation by supporting the small businesses who support us.
The production of Now Hear This Studios, Canby's locally owned full-service audio, video, and media production company. Our mission is to produce the best content in the universe, and we'd love to help you do it. Find us online at nhtstudios.com.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
I just moved it.
I didn't even ask for it, though.